The National Assembly will vote in a motion of no confidence against Speaker Thoko Didiza today. The motion was brought by EFF leader Julius Malema. It relates to Didiza's decision not to oppose President Cyril Ramaphosa's urgent interdict application in the Western Cape High Court to halt the parliamentary impeachment process against him. Let's now hand it over to Bulelani Phillip, who's covering this for us. Bulelani, good morning again.
Good morning to you, Leanne, and to the viewers at home. Of course, it's been 2 months since that motion of no confidence against the Speaker was laid here in the National Assembly. Of course, a lot has happened since then. The President's interim relief application was successful in the Western Cape High Court. An appeal by several opposition parties in the Constitutional Court failed, and 2 other political parties had actually argued again in the Western Cape High Court for leave to appeal on that interim relief application of the President. So whether the things that have happened in the interim since that motion was laid will have a bearing on the process of voting this afternoon, it remains to be seen. But what we do know at the moment is that the motion of no confidence by the EFF leader is based on 4 principles, particularly around the decision of the Speaker not to oppose the President's interim relief application. The President of the EFF has argued that the Speaker has actually failed to protect the integrity and independence of Parliament by not opposing that interim relief application. And the second part is that the Speaker is being accused of being a party loyalist rather than upholding her constitutional rights, responsibilities. And the third part is that the EFF is arguing that the Speaker had actually initially been advised through a legal advice that she should actually indeed oppose that application, but she did not. And she subsequently sought a second legal opinion, which in terms of the EFF's application of the motion, is that that decision was meant to actually rubber stamp or rather justify that decision not to oppose that application. I've just actually looked at what happened in the impeachment committee when that committee decided to actually advise the Speaker to oppose that application. You'll recall that in that committee, the resolution was that the Speaker should actually oppose the application of the President. But in the committee, in terms of the parties, how they actually voted, the ANC actually agreed with the Speaker's decision that she should actually abide by the court's decision. And the parties that did not support that resolution that the Speaker must oppose were actually 2 parties, Al-Jama and the Patriotic Alliance. But the parties that actually supported the decision of the committee that the Speaker should oppose that interim relief application by the President were 9. And namely, I'll read that the first one is the EFF, the MK Party, the Democratic Alliance, the ATM, the FF+, the UDM, UAT, ACDP, and BOSA. And of course, all of them advanced different reasons for taking that decision. And of course, I must point out that just because they were in support of that resolution of the committee, that will not necessarily or automatically lead to them voting in favor of this motion. What will determine the outcome of that vote is that whether the EFF is able to actually galvanize or get the support of these parties based on the principles that it has advanced. But in the past, we know that even political parties who are opposed to a particular motion or a budget debate, as we've seen in the past, is that they do not necessarily vote against that motion. They could either abstain or vote against it. So the numbers game is going to be the thing that is going to decide the success or otherwise of the motion. And in the end, what will determine whether we'll have a new Speaker at the end of the day is that the EFF's motion must get a 50% +1 vote.